What's up, familia? I'm the Uncanny Dayspring.
I'm the adjectiveless Flinkman.
And we're here to talk about PulseCon 2023.
Well, I can't believe we're having another PulseCon. Like, how many is this now? Is this 2020, 2021, 20? Wow, this is the fourth one. Jesus Christ.
The fourth one? You're right. Look, I have to tell you, there was a time when in our fan collecting, consciousness that I could not envision announcements outside of Toy Fair, outside of San Diego Comic-Con, and now I'm like, when's PulseCon happening? When is it happening?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we get like regular, like quarterly check-ins almost at this point. We get Q1, we have Toy Fair. I guess maybe we don't have anything Q2. I don't fucking know. I don't know, but it feels like we're just like constantly being showered in toy reveals, and like I love it, but my wallet doesn't always love it. But I don't know. I kind of remember PulseCon last year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it was a little underwhelming. We didn't review what was revealed.
We didn't.
Who knows? I could just be speculating wildly, which I am prone to do.
Well, no, that's when we got Dark Phoenix, Multiple Man, we got Spiral. That's when they revealed all the...
You're right.
And
I think that was the only X-Men wave. All the X-Men we got.
The retro card wave. Yeah.
Which was an amazing wave.
I remember I was changing for my gig in the bathroom, and I had the phone up, and they showed the first retro card figure. I'm forgetting who it was. Let's say it was Jamie. And I saw in the corner some evil-looking red. I'm like, oh, we're getting Madeline fucking Pryor like that.
If only we got like the one true evil redhead.
And it looked identical. I just put away some retro cards that I had in package, and it looked identical to Maddie. It is a travesty that was Dark Phoenix and not Maddie. Just say.
I mean, the fact that you're saying that really goes a long way, because you're a crazy Jean stan. But let's not pretend that bright red Dark Phoenix figure has been anything other than a vessel for a Rachel Summers head in
it has been.
Collection.
The Black Widow, the retro Black Widow from like the 90s, I popped her head off and I put it on the... Well, Jeff did. I did not. But that is how we have Rachel now until we get the one true goddess known as Rachel Summers. Offspring
the one true goddess Phoenix?
Offspring of the goddess.
Sure,
offspring of the God Queen.
Fair. I have to troll you about Jean, but I ever since her and Dazzler died together, I'm kind of feeling like this kinship with like Jean stans that I haven't felt before. So like I'll go easy on Jean today.
They did you Dazzler stans dirty with that. I mean, we reviewed this for the podcast already. So
we could do a whole part 2 before we dive into PulseCon, but I feel like the X community has been traumatized enough by the Hellfire Gala for the last month and a half.
So today's episode is not a wish list, and it's not even reporting what's being revealed, is what do we think will possibly be revealed. So again, we'll do a 2 follow-up episodes on, we'll cover what is revealed, and then we'll give our wish list and sort of the top 10 legends we want. But this is hearing the market, hearing the rumors that are out there. What could possibly be on the horizon for X-Men in Marvel Legends?
And I don't know if it's just because I'm picking like really obvious choices, but every time we kind of do like a wish list thing, my choices kind of end up happening. So like,
shout out to the Powers of X-Men podcast, Dayspring and Flinkman. I believe Flinkman, this was his number 1 wanted X-Men Legends figure to be made. So,
a wish list to me is basically the same thing as what we think we'll see at this point, because I'm just that fucking good at this point.
Ryan Ting is one of the Flink men. He's the one who slides into our NGLs and is like, why hasn't Flink been on?
Oh my God. Ryan Ting, I love you too. I'm a Ting man. So does that sound... I don't know if that sounds good or not.
I'm getting tingly thinking about that.
Oh my God. You and your puns. You had 3 puns before we even hopped onto this Zoom today. I've missed you so.
I know. Well, you've been MIA for last month because you had so much going on. But we have been doing collaborations with Heritage Comics. So Familia, head over to the Instagram page, see Flink and his top picks, and we'll have a Batman one. I think this is going to air after Batman. So go there to see Batman Day, how we're celebrating Batman Day as well.
Yes. Perfect. I always have to do a little plug for my job, which, I'm grateful enough, or lucky enough that also involves comic books. So I just live in a comic book world at this point. And
I mean,
it's like
I'm jealous.
living my best life.
I mean, the offices are, your desk is everything. I love it. Why don't you kick us off? Familia, this is what we think will be released. DM us at Flinkman. I was going to be at Flinkman. Flinkman and Power of X-Men. Leave it in the comments here on YouTube. Let us know what figures you may want to see revealed at PulseCon 23. But to kick us off on our first selection is going to be Flink.
Yeah, okay. Well, circling back to the conversation that we just wrapped, the character I think we are most likely to see at this point is an official Rachel Summers release. It's time. It's time. It was well past time. I think I have told the story about how I physically got red in the face and hot and had to like step away from my desk when they unveiled the Excalibur 3-pack with no fucking Rachel in it. So that was like 2 years ago at this point. That was like a whole nother lifetime ago. It's beyond time for us to have some sort of Rachel Summers figure.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. This is one of those figures that we desperately want. We know Hasbro, the team at Hasbro, knows that we like to complete teams. So there's certain figures of characters that haven't been released yet. It's worth noting that we do have a Marvel Legends Rachel from the end of Gray's era that was part of the Brood Bath. And she just, poor BB has not aged well. I like the figure for what it is, as a Pacello inspired, character with the Phoenix tattoo in the back. But I want a Hound Rachel.
Yep.
I want lots of accessories. I want a lot of Phoenix effects. I want it. I say this all the time. I want it like the GameStop release of Archangel, like multiple heads, big old wings, everything. Give us Rachel like that. I will pay $50 for her.
I would pay more than $50. Don't get any ideas, Ryan Ting. Don't think that the Ting men are just completely crazy. But I would pay quite a bit more for, a Rachel that has a powered down head, a powered up head, and one with her tattoos full force. And I think, as much as I want a big fiery Phoenix effect for her, I would settle for just clip-on fiery
wings,
things. Yeah, like she had on the iconic cover of Excalibur #1. That would be fine. That would be fine. But yeah, I think that deluxe Archangel figure, that's totally the way to go for Rachel. Just give us all
it's the what she needs. It's just because she's a character. We're not gonna listen. We have gotten one Rachel figure. There was no 5-inch Toy Biz Rachel. We have gotten one Rachel figure in the decades RBB has been around. The daughter of our God Queen, the child of our God Queen, has been around for decades, and she's only gotten one figure. Now, my question for you, it would be the Excalibur, the Hound red costume. That's the one you want. Definitely.
And, if we're going the deluxe figure route, I want those spikes to be real, and I want my finger to bleed when I touch it. It needs to be that spiky.
I honestly don't think we need her in the Dark Phoenix costume because we do have that retro card Dark Phoenix. So I think we're set with that. Yeah, that is totally fine. The only one that I would probably like is her first appearance Uncanny X-Men outfit. That is a wish list, but should that want trump necessity? No, not at all.
We got to complete the team.
It needs to be the Hound one with the multiple. Yeah. I love the Phoenix clip-on wing. That is what I want for her.
Yeah, I mean, same. She's by far and away my number one most wanted Marvel Legends figure at this point, and has been since they announced an Excalibur 3-pack without her. So
do we think it's likely? Do we think it's likely she can be announced? I do. I agree. That's why she's on this list.
They teased it when they announced that box set, that they knew that there was one member outstanding, and they just wanted to figure out the logistics of doing her appropriately. So it's been enough time, gentlemen. It's time. We're ready. We're ready for Rachel. The days of future have passed. All right. We are ready for fucking Rachel Summers. You like that one? I had that one came right off the top there.
Hysterical. That's right, guys. It just came out. These puns are flying out of Flink's mouth. Yeah, I agree. They've hinted at her. It's been a lot of time. My worry is, has she fallen off the radar? I hope not. I mean, listen, it feels like PulseCon last year, they were giving us a lot of specific characters like Spiral and like classic Multiple Man. this would be the venue to announce her at, right?
Agreed.
It wouldn't be San Diego. It wouldn't be anything like that. This is where she should be announced at. And by the way, sidebar, it feels like San Diego, they're announcing their more safer lines like the X-Men 97, stuff like that. But the real things that are going to get people hyped is going to be a PulseCon. You want to get X-Men fans hyped, it's going to be Rachel Summers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you. I do think San Diego Comic-Con, they're doing the choices that will have the most broad appeal for the 100,000 people who may or may not swing by their booth, for sure. But it's Rachel's time.
It's Rachel's time to shine. All right. The next one is based off of display model behaviors rumors. It's Armored Betsy. And I have to tell you, she is being rumored to be part of a 2-pack with Wolverine in celebration of Wolverine's 50th anniversary.
Fine.
We know this is Pedro, aka Minimate, aka the Mint in Toy Box Collector, reminded me when I was sounding off on this rumor that Wolverine was the one who created the armor for Betsy, which I completely when I tell you that was information I knew, but I had put it somewhere else.
Unlocked a memory.
Unlocked a memory, just like how Doug Ramsey used to flirt with her. There was something going on.
I think there's a little bit more than a flirtation. I think she flirted back, and that is a little inappropriate. But yeah, no. How many times does Wolverine have to call someone a frail before he steps in and makes an armor for her? So I was actually discussing this rumor with one of my friends, that the Wolverine Psylocke 2-pack, and he said that from just like whatever version of Wolverine left to make, that Patch Wolverine in a suit is still out there, which immediately like triggered panic in me. Mm-hmm. What if this armored Betsy that's rumored is the Mandarin armor from when Wolverine was Patch rather than the...
I thought about that too. Because I think display model behavior, not to like put words in his mouth or anything, but he said Armored Betsy, was not specified as Outback era. It makes sense. I think our heads go to Outback era because we got that one off with Outback era Rogue. We've gone Longshot, we've gone Dazzler, we have Punk Storm already. So, we got Havoc.
I have to tell you that Punk Storm is technically not Outback. She grew her hair out. That's Fall of the Mutants.
That's
we got to have a true Outback Storm. She's not on my list this time, but I have to stop you to advocate for a true Outback Storm. So sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
But wait, but let me quench your fears, because display model behavior also is reporting that a 2-pack with Joe Fixit Hulk and Patch to recreate that iconic cover is part of the rumor. So I theorized that it would be the Wolverine that would come with her would be a Inferno style Wolverine, where it's like the Mark Silvestri with like the big old cowl, dark, like the darked out eyes and like the white, So that is where I'm not saying that would be it, but if I had to theorize, if they were going to stick to the 80s vibe with that.
Yeah. And just in general, it's been a couple of years since they've done just like brown costume Wolverine. So he's probably due for a re-release as well. So even if it's just like a standard re-release of the amazing brown costume on like a pinless body, I would be happy with that. I never got the vintage card upgrade, so I still need a brown costume Wolverine with arm hair. So I would be fine with that.
I would be fine with it too. Again, with the understanding that it's a Silvestri, like highly stylized Wolverine, then I would just be like, that's fine. And like, by the way, we're not really going to talk about that much about Wolverine, that much in this, but next year is the 50th anniversary of Wolverine. So we and Deadpool 3 is coming. Well, supposedly it's coming out. Allegedly, we do have the actors and the writer strike, but next year is going to be a big time for Wolverine. So we can expect lots of Wolverine figures. But I think Armored Betsy, it's going to be the purple armor. I love it. I hope we get an alternate head for her as well. I would love to have an unmasked Betsy on that. Do you think we can get it with? Yes.
My dream is that the alternate head with no mask is more of like an Andy Kubert style, like Revanche, whatever.
Oh,
when she came back in Adjectiveless in the 90s. Just a little, I would buy two in that case.
Oh my, that would be so, and then you could put it on, whichever Psylocke body you have. Yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Do you say revenge? Wait, revanche or revanche?
So,
what is the
Lady
official?
Gaga has taught me. What is it? Revanche.
Revanche.
It's French for revenge.
Yeah.
So that's how I would assume
Revanche.
that. I always call revanche. I'm from
I'm like
Texas.
revanche. Revanche. That's a Cuban in me. Revanche.
Yeah, I'm from Texas. You're from Florida. So revanche and revanche. Yeah,
Revanche.
I get
That's
it.
how I say it. Listen, I would still love a fucking head. Like, please give that to us. That is brilliant. Yes, armored Betsy with a revenge head. That is a way to do it. 100%. And would she complete our Outback era with the exception of Storm there?
Yes, unless you want to count Gateway, which I would love a Gateway pack-in with some. Gateway pack-in can come with Storm, and then we're done.
One of my big thing that I have stuck in my head is that I want a Generation X wave with a Build-A-Figure Gateway, but the Build-A-Figure Gateway is a Build-A-Figure because he has a huge smoky power effect on his fist. That is down. What I want.
And anyways, a rock to sit on.
that is for another episode, but anyways, next one. Yes, a rock to sit on. Next one.
Okay, so back to this whole idea of completing teams and, doing characters that the Hasbro team has hinted at. I think we're due for 90s X Factor Wolfsbane. I think she deserves a unique figure. Like I said, they've hinted at her. And with the, Tigra, I feel like they have the body for her. Or, well, Tigra has a tail, so maybe Tigra can be used for somebody else. I don't know, but yeah, Wolfsbane, she's got to happen. Like it is time for that. You're going to hear me say this again and again, but it's just time. It is just time for these figures to be made.
Yeah, and she's also on the display model behavior list. But I got to tell you something. I want her. I want her in her X Factor costume, 100%. That is not even an issue here, and I do think she stands a likely chance of being unveiled.
Yeah.
However, we know because we talked to Ryan Ting a couple years ago that originally the pack, the New Mutants pack was going to be Danny, it was going to be Karma, and it was going to be Magma. But they were like, oh, maybe we'll find another way to do a Magma head. Let's do Wolfsbane. Waste of a spot to give us Wolfsbane if we're going to get X Factor Wolfsbane, because I would have rather have gone in a Magma. Because where's Magma now? Where's Magma?
I mean,
people are using Brie Larson's fired up head from Captain Marvel as a Magma, and that ain't right. That ain't right. Magma needs her own figure, and I love Brie Larson. But I agree. We need a Magma. So that's the only thing that I'm just like, fine, give us X Factor. I know.
Yeah, of course I suggest a character and you immediately rant about somebody else and take up all of the allotted time not talking about the character.
Bitch, we have no allotted time. This is why our episodes run like 2 hours.
It's true. Oh dear God, everybody forgive us. We're just getting started.
I know. Jesus. Anyways, continue.
She has to exist. I mean, that New Mutants uniform, it's a fine stand-in. It looks okay with Havoc, Polaris, and the gang. But I really think, given Reign's long-standing membership with affiliation with the X-Men and across all the various teams she's been on, because she's been on fucking like all of them at this point, or a version of all of them, it's time. And if they want to give us some multiple heads with her, with like a full wolf form, a lesser wolf form, and even like an Excalibur ponytail era like wolf head, I'm down for all of it. But just give us Wolfsbane and like a dedicated figure of her own, not shared with 2 other female characters, which I as much as I love having, all of those characters represented, I do think it was a bit of a cop-out to put 3 characters that everybody wants as swap heads when they could each have their own unique figures and better costumes. That's just me.
Agree. Especially like Karma with the cyborg leg would just be so badass. Like that would have been so badass to have her. But I'm looking at the 90s X Factor, and we already have Strong Guy, we have Polaris and Havoc, obviously we have Multiple Man, Quicksilver, we got Wolfsbane is the only one standing out.
Displayed Once would scream at me if I didn't say that we also need a Val Cooper, but between us, I don't think we really need her. But Rich, I understand you really want to complete the team, so I'll throw out we would still need a Val Cooper too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Val Cooper, especially since she's going to be in X-Men 97, maybe we'll get her somewhere in the
Oh yeah.
line. You know, maybe somewhere in the Marvel Legends line we'll get her. But I listen, that's fine. Yes, I'm looking. It's so funny because I'm looking at that very image. Oh, we got random as well. I'm looking at the very image. And Val Cooper's there off to the side in her purple top and her overcoat.
They can reuse business suit Aunt May.
Oh my God. Did you get that figure, by the way?
Of course I got that figure.
Is she in? Did she come in for you?
Yeah, I love her.
Even know. I don't even know if the answer is I did not pre-order her, and I do want her. I want her with my Galactus. Where's Galactus? I have him somewhere around here.
Golden Oldie, the true herald of Galactus. Her and Dazzler.
All right, our next one, in keeping with that feline vibe, is Feral for X-Force.
Has to happen.
Has to happen. That I have nothing else other than we have all of X-Force, and she's the last one that's missing. And I believe we did, again, to cite this 2-year-old interview with Ryan Ting, he did mention it was all about like figuring out the mechanics for someone like her.
Yeah, and they did. They have Tigra. I mean, just putting that out there. All you'd have to do is give Tigra's put some shoulder pads and like a little loincloth thing. I'm like going like this as if anybody can see me. Probably doesn't look good. Put a little loincloth on her, rendered in hot pink, of course. Like, it's a hot pink cat lady. We've said this. We've been saying this for how many years now? Give us the hot pink cat lady. It is time. She's needed. I don't really have much to say other than
she is the last one. She's quite literally the last one from X-Force. I mean, we have Cannonball, we have Boom Boom, we have Shatterstar, we have Richter as we remember. Domino, we got Cable, we got Siren, even though we don't like her. Warpath, Sunspot, everyone's there except for Feral. Feral is the last one, and it's and we've only ever gotten one figure of her, which is that Toy Fair mail away figure.
The Deathbird head on the Black Cat body, and that Deathbird head actually they used it for Wolfsbane too. So like, we can have Feral, we can have Wolfsbane, we can have Deathbird all with the same head. I don't give a fuck. Just give it to us.
It was so I forgot about that. She was part of the She-Force, later She-Force waves, Wolfsbane, and then but I was thinking, you know which one I was thinking of? I was thinking of the New Mutants Wolfsbane.
Oh yeah.
That one that came out. That's interesting. Oh wait, which has like she has like the combable hair that used to go on figures, but as a tail. That's hysterical.
And those New Mutants figures, you know, they were fun for their day, but my goodness, how random were they? Like, what relevancy? No offense, but what relevancy did the New Mutants have in 1998?
Oh, zero. Anyways, I can't even stomach the next one. You have to say it.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's not like I personally, again, this isn't a wish list. This is what we think we're going to see. And given the fact, you know, that we just got lovely new Astonishing Cyclops and Emma figures. We have Hot Claws Wolverine, which is essentially his astonishing look. We're due for Astonishing Beast with a crazy cat head. I kind of love Cat Beast. It's like an era where he was somewhat tolerable. I don't know.
I think this was the beginning of the end for him.
Yes.
But I agree with you. He was tolerable. This is where we got a pivot from the Hank McCoy from the 90s that we all loved to where he's at today. This was where the pivot began. Listen, I like Cat Beast. I like the design. If you're going to tell me this was a new X-Men Cat Beast, I'd be like, bring him in.
Please bring the whole new X-Men team. But I just don't see that.
It's going to be astonishing.
It's going to be astonishing.
And that
X diaper.
In his X diaper, and we've had 2 Cat Beasts in the past. One of them was for the X3 Marvel Legends Toy Biz Wave, and then where was the Astonishing Beast part of? Was that also the Brood series?
Was it the Brood or was it the Nemesis?
It was probably Nemesis because I had that Beast and Astonishing Beast Marvel Legends, and obviously I have Nemesis. Which it is Nemesis.
It's wild that we had the 2 figures, and it's wild to me that the Toy Biz figure that was in no way a comic accurate costume blew Hasbro's comic accurate Cat Beast out of the water. That figure, that Toy Biz Cat Beast figure was so fucking good. Like I can't even tell you how
It
much I
was
love
so,
that
I
figure.
posed it for the longest times
Forever.
with just like a coat, like the Danger Room Beast that came with like a lab coat. I just put it over him because it wasn't comic accurate like costume, but it was still perfect.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like maybe like 10 years, I don't, what is time? What is time? But 5, 10 years, somewhere in that window, Beast actually adopted a look. I think of Secret Avengers. He actually adopted a look that was essentially that black like jumpsuit costume that he had on that figure. So, Toy Biz out here influencing the comics. But I digress. It's not necessarily what I want, but I do think Astonishing Cat Beast, if not at PulseCon, he's coming.
Let me ask you something.
Kitty's coming.
Let me ask you something. Did you think we needed new astonishing figures? Because the Astonishing Cyclops and Emma, though they are great figures, I was like, why are we getting them? Like, why are we revisiting Astonishing now?
It was out of left field.
Because like the Emma in that wave, I was like, well, you have M there, and we just got a Banshee. Why aren't you going to give us Generation X Emma? It really threw me for a loop that we got 2 Astonishing figures, but I agree with you. They're probably going to be doing the Astonishing team again. They're revisiting it.
Well, you have to think about versions of the X-Men that are, the general public is aware of. They, at the end of the day, they want these things to sell, and I just feel like the Astonishing team and those looks, versions of those costumes, Cyclops and Emma Cyclops basically is still wearing kind of a version of that costume. So like,
and Cyclops is an easy figure. He's an easy figure to do. So I understand slapping on an Astonishing Cyclops in a wave because it's cost effective. But Emma, I want a Generation X Emma.
Yeah, but you're not going to ever hear me and Emma Stan like be upset about there being a Marvel Legends Emma, because there was a period 20 years ago where we thought we were never going to have Emma in any capacity. So I'll take it. They owed us a redo on that look. The existing figure was horrendous. And so they owed us a redo, and no, Astonishing Emma wasn't, or Cyclops. Neither were on my list, but those are 2 of their best looks. One of her most iconic and retail friendly looks. Dude. So I get it, and I took him gladly.
Dude, it's so funny because for folks at home who probably don't know their ML history, Grandpa Dayspring and Grandpa Flinkman are going to tell you there was a time where we were legit worried that accounts like Walmart wouldn't take an Emma Frost figure because she was too risque, which is something like so ridiculous to say out loud here, but that was a legit thing back in the day that people were worried about, and why we wouldn't get certain figures.
I'm pretty sure it was the company line. Like, it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure. And back in those Swoosh days when Jesse Falcon would do like those Ask Jesse threads, of course, people were asking questions about Emma and Tigra and all of these other characters that are wearing underwear as their, female characters wearing underwear as their costumes. And the answer was kind of like, no, like you said, retail won't buy those characters, so we're not going to make them. And that was, pretty upsetting at the time. But again, growing up, us grandpas growing up in the 90s, we were used to not getting female characters
one per wave or being the chase.
Yeah. And Emma, we did get that great Gen X Emma, so there's no excuse for them. I think we're more progressive now, maybe, than we were in the 90s. Maybe not. I don't know.
Listen. But they were almost progressive when they had her in her regular costume, and then they re-released her with coloring her flesh, like giving her white tights.
There
would be a variant. Listen, I'll take, like what you said, I'll take any Emma, but
let's this I will accept this derailment of my character choice, because I would rather talk about Emma than Kitty Cat Beast or any version of Beast.
I agree. Listen, and by the way, because Hasbro does such a great job with Beast, even though I fucking hate this character more than anything in the world, their Beast figures are objectively good. So the retro card Beast that came out was great. Cat Beast is going to be phenomenal if we get it. I can just already see him standing tall in the Astonishing team. But
Yeah.
all right, our next one is going to be Lilandra, of course, again, based off of the rumors that are circulating out there. It makes sense. She's apparently going to be paired with a Canadian lumberjack Wolverine. So I'm thinking animated series, homage, like 2-pack here, and she's going to be in the black bathing suit.
Oh, you think black bathing suits?
Oh, you tell me. No, you tell me.
I really only picture a Lilandra figure in her armor. I mean, they teased it how many years ago as an alternate head with Mystique, but I guess they, to kit bash with like the silver sable body to get us something like close-ish to Lilandra at the time. But no, I think we're finally gonna get Lilandra in her full armor with her cape, and her trident. But I don't know, you could be onto something.
The only reason why I'm saying her in like the black bathing suit and the guns is because, they're doing the, Jim Lee Star Jammers in that whole era. I would love it if she came with an M-Cron crystal. I have such a boner for Hasbro to do an M-Cron crystal accessory, even though I have the HeroClix one. But that's why I would think, I would imagine if they were going to do the Empress Lilandra, they would have given us a version of her by now. But maybe it's a cost-effective situation where they already have the head. They just have to do the body with a cape, and that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't forget, wasn't she one of the infamous San Diego Comic-Con 2008 fan vote figures?
Yeah, she was.
So like, it's a character version that they have teased for 15 years. So I don't know. My gut really tells me it's going to be Empress in her armor, although I really do like the idea of her in her little black one piece. Like that would be cute. And I mean, you could probably even use Tigra yet again, because she's got the fur that almost looks kind of feathery. Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't need the tooling. I don't know. We know Hasbro likes to save a buck and reuse a body when they can. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see that.
Wait, I'm looking up. Oh, she was in her Empress form.
Don't question my memory.
I'm not questioning your memory. I wasn't paying attention, and B, I was like, oh, wasn't she in her bathing suit for that? Let's see. Wait, quickly looking at this. It was a Magneto.
Yep.
It was
which we got eventually.
Gambit in the blue and gold, which we got. North Star and Aurora, which we got. First appearance Storm, Silver Samurai, which we got. I can't find the other image here. It's not loading. I know there was a White Phoenix, a Multiple Man, and a Havoc, which we
Modern
also got.
Havoc we don't got, and X Factor Investigations era Madrox we don't got. So let's keep the list going, Hasbro.
Keep the list going.
We've been waiting.
We technically haven't gotten White Phoenix either. So come on, White Phoenix.
Make it happen. Make our 2008 San Diego Comic-Con dreams come true. Was that a year you went? Did you see those prototypes in person?
No, I was at Wizard, I believe, at the time. So RIP Wizard. So I believe those images were coming in via, whoever was at San Diego that year.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, next one on our list.
Okay, so since we're talking about, debating which version of Lilandra we're going to get, I kind of want to debate the version of Wolverine that we're going to get included with her, because I kind of expected, if that rumor was true, and this is my next official pick, not a wish list, but what I think, I expect that we're going to get Fang costume Wolverine at some point, because they just released the Fang figure. We have ready to go, and they didn't notably they didn't give us a Wolverine swap head or hands for that figure, because they know they can ding us again by releasing him later. So that's kind of where maybe I'm thinking 2 comics and not enough cartoon, but I was thinking Wolverine in his Fang costume would be revealed and possibly paired with Lilandra.
So we agreed we were going to get a Wolverine figure revealed.
Oh God!
Shockingly, but for the familia at home, your pick was Fang.
It seems so obvious.
And my pick is Feral, because if we're celebrating Wolverine, okay. In fairness, Here. Look, listen to me. I think you're right. It's going to be Fang, or lumberjack Canadian Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think we'll have both of those. Feral Wolverine is more of a want for me, but also putting on my business hat. What kind of Wolverine haven't I done yet? And it's his 50th anniversary. I would do a Feral Wolverine. Is if I was in that meeting with Ryan Ting and Dwight,
If
and
you were
Dan,
one of the Ting men,
if I was one of the Ting men, I would. That is what I would say. I'd be like, "Why don't we do Feral Wolverine?"
listen, okay,
Just
I
saying.
need to clarify that the oh god that I let out at the beginning of this is not in opposition to getting a Feral Wolverine figure, because I, like you, came of age with the Onslaught era noseless Wolverine. So like, fierce, give me that shit.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I was oh godding because I knew that Feral Wolverine is one of those things where you just go like blank. You go into the white hot room and
I'm checked out for
comes out
White
of you.
Phoenix, man. My eyes like roll back.
I knew it was coming. I knew there was going to be more of a hard sell to me than was necessary, because I know how much you love Feral Wolverine, and for that, I hope they make him, and I think you do. Business hat, Dayspring. I do think that you make a good point. Like if we're celebrating the entirety of this iconic comic book character, we gotta include Noseless Wolverine, and we've gotten him before. We got him in the '90s in the ridiculously oversized Onslaught wave, alongside '90s Gene, and then both of them were huge and didn't fit in with any of our other action figures, and it was really disappointing and depressing. But we did get him, so there's a precedent for it. But I have to say, I would prefer him with the red bandana and the tiger stripe top rather than the blue bandana and like the yellow and gold.
No. What is wrong with you? That's it. Episode ends.
No, I'm gonna Google Feral Wolverine right now.
It has to be with the blue bandana and his torn up costume, and then
head. I want the torn up costume.
Feral Wolverine.
I guess he did appear more.
It has to be the blue. I'm sorry, with the bone claws and everything. Where is this red band? No one is talking about the red bandana. No one.
Fine.
You know what? We can have a variant. We'll have a variant with the red bandana.
I swear there was. I'm sure there was a red bandana. I cannot find it.
I trust your memory more than mine.
I swear he had a red bandana at some point.
Bitch, I wasn't even like questioning if there was a red bandana. I just want the blue bandana.
It does not exist on the internet. So like, have I slipped into like the Berenstain Bears universe again? Like,
oh my God.
I don't know what's happening, but I swear there was a red bandana. Is there not? Okay. I feel like a literal crazy person, but I'll let it go. That's
fine. Folks at home, if there's a red bandana Wolverine, send us a screenshot. I don't remember one, to be honest with you, but
Okay, this is Flink of the Future here, hopping back in time to let you know that I did do a little bit of light Googling, and that turned up that the prototype for the Toy Biz Feral Wolverine figure from the 90s Onslaught wave actually did have a red bandana and a tiger stripe shirt. So the reason I remember him that way is because he was announced that way. I pored over those pictures as they were released as a kid. I was obsessed whenever Toy Biz announced new X-Men figures. So I'm not crazy, at least not in this instance. He was portrayed that way on an action figure. He just wasn't released that way. So now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thanks for listening to my crazy rant.
Feral Wolverine I want. That's where I'm going to end. And you know what? And here, this is how much I love you. For the I was going to say the Wolverine 3 movie. For Deadpool 3, when they release Feral Wolverine, put him in a 2-pack with a Jennifer Garner Elektra. Because obviously he was close to Elektra at that time.
Please.
Do you see this olive branch I am giving you? I'm giving you an olive branch because I do want. Well, I wouldn't care for a Marvel. We talked about this before we hit record. I'm not too into the MCU Marvel Legends, but because I love you, I would love to have this figure.
And I too am not too into the MCU Marvel Legends, but we already know that I would buy 100 Jennifer Garner action figures and make every single one of her looks on Alias. Like it would like make this figure, Hasbro, and I will personally fund its success. Like it's just yes. But back to Feral Wolverine, to your point, I want him exactly how you want him. I just remember him. Do you remember him in where I remember he was always solid pants, but a tiger stripe shirt.
Yeah, like
okay,
shirt, like
that's what I want.
Shirt.
That
yeah.
I want the tiger stripe shirt. I feel like that costume apparently did not ever have a red bandana, but it did fluctuate in between like the blue gold like training uniform top and the tiger stripe top. And I just give me the tigers. If there is no fucking red bandana, if I'm just having like a mass hallucination for the last 30 years. Give me just the tiger stripe. That's all I ask.
I love that the real bulk of this episode is talking about Wolverine.
Fuck. Who are we? What
I know. Oh gosh.
It's fine. Wolverine is I long ago made peace with the fact that you can't significantly discuss the X-Men without discussing Wolverine.
So we can agree there's going to be a Wolverine.
We can agree that there's going to be a Wolverine reveal.
There's a Wolverine figure. There's lots of
groundbreaking.
Okay. Our next one is keeping with that astonishing vibe is going to be Astonishing Kitty.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do the Astonishing Team without Kitty Pryde. So yeah. Do you want her with a ponytail or not a ponytail?
That's interesting because I was about to say we're going to get her with her new college haircut, which is without the ponytail. Yeah. But I would like her with that pony, the high pony. But they already gave us all new X-Men Shadowcat, which already had the pony. And it's more based off of that era than it is the Astonishing. And costume is, of course, slightly different, but she still has a pony. So I think they may do the short hair. Or the hair down. Sorry, that's
what we got on the Walmart Toy Biz Astonishing Kitty. So I think it's likely to be hair down. Am I having like a hallucination? She did sometimes have it in like a low.
Yeah, she sometimes had it in a pony. You're 100% right. She had a pony.
Because yes, obviously I remember, the all new X-Men era where she had like the Sporty Spice ponytail.
The sporty, This was a little bit more tamed. It was a little bit more.
It was like her rolling out of Colossus's bed and putting her hair up kind of situation,
or phasing through the ceiling after she was with Colossus. She's like, oh my god, that's never happened before, and he's here like, good, yeah. Like, listen, you guys have been separated. Have fun. I think it's going to be the short hair, although I personally would prefer the ponytail. Like when she first finds Colossus at the bottom of the lab, and she like turns around, she has her pony. So like I would like the pony like that. Yeah.
Hand on the heart, like I'll never. Yeah. There are a few times from like that era of comics where I vividly remember having emotional reactions to that scene you just described with Kitty Pryde was one of them. And then like probably the last two issues of Phoenix in Song where like Emma became the Phoenix and then all of the X-Men like shared their love for Jean or like whatever that shit was. I'm sure you have deep feels and analyses on.
So you do agree. Jean is the heart of the X-Men. God, Jean, darling Jean, how does it feel to be loved that much?
I just remember those two scenes happening around the same time and like me being, 19 years old and just being emotional about that particular scene. So maybe that's why I want Astonishing Kitty.
That's a beautiful moment. That is a beautiful moment when she finds Colossus again. And by the way, the follow-up line was like, and this is like a line that was never just really used in comics, where she's here like, if you are a clone, if you're some kind of robot and you don't know it, I can forgive you. But if you are a hallucination, if you are a shapeshifter, I will literally beat your ass.
And she could too.
And she could. Well, yes, 100%. This version of Kitty could. I don't know about Shadowcat with a K, but when she exactly, we don't know her. But when she goes, I know he died because I scattered his ashes. And Colossus looks down and then looks at her and says, really? You did? Thank you. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. So you know what? We do need that Astonishing Kitty. Now it's a wish list. Now we're going into wish list territory.
Yeah, we knew that this was going to veer quickly. I think we've discussed plenty of Wolverine and a brief detour into Beast World. But other than that, like, come on, let's be real. This is our 12-year-old wish list, or 19 and 38 plus.
But I think, listen, because we have Astonishing Emma and Astonishing Cyclops, and because it looks like they are going to do the Astonishing team, and Kitty is just such a big A-lister X-Men, I think it's a safe bet we'll get her.
Do you count Hot Claws Wolverine as Astonishing Wolverine, or do you think we will get, again, detouring back into our fan favorite Wolverine, do you think we're going to get like a more Cassidy style with the small
I think
ears?
so, but I don't think it's worth mentioning because it will just be released as part of the 50th anniversary Wolverine. I think it's safe to say that that's some of Wolverine's looks, specifically his Astonishing, I feel are evergreen. So
yeah,
they can just put him out whenever. And yeah, I think it's a safe bet we'll get that. But to answer your question, I don't, but again, I think it won't stop them to release another version of that.
I don't think we have to ask for it. We'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. No one's gonna be demanding. I still love that Toy Biz Astonishing Wolverine. That one still. I mean, I'm sure hasn't aged nicely. It's
he was always kind of weird. His weird little sad face.
Tiny. He was tiny and sad. Dear. Okay. Anyways, next one.
Okay.
These next two are really good.
Yeah, and I think that they have, like, I can't believe that I'm like, this isn't a wish list, and I'm actually saying I think there's a chance we're going to see this figure. But given that we have just received Monet in Chamber, we've discussed it before. Gen X is nigh, and I think that the logical next choice for that, given all the attention he's currently receiving in the comics, is Sync. Like, I think it's Ev's. It's his time. Like, how many times have I said that? It's his time. Yeah. There's no better time for Sync than now.
Yeah. And he is, I mean, he's having a big moment in the comics. He's having a relationship with Talon, who is the old woman Wolverine. Laura.
Not X-23.
Not X-23. Heard that, Pedro? We heard that, Pedro. So I think he stands a really good chance. You knock him. He's good for two reasons in a line. In the red costume, is that you get him for Generation X. And even though he has a variation for Krakoa, I still think good enough for the Krakoa age. In an ideal world, we'd get two versions. But thinking of this, if you're giving us Monet in the red costume, you're giving us Sync in the red costume. And that's fine. And I'm fine with it. I love Generation X so much.
Yeah, and I mean, we pretty strongly advocated for modern Monet before Gen X Monet, and then we got Gen X Monet, and suddenly we're both like, okay, perfectly happy with this. We need the rest of Generation X right now. So there may, had we gotten that modern Monet first, I may have a different opinion, but at this point, there's no way I would want a modern Sync over a Gen X Sync. Like, they're just, no. Mm-mm.
No, I agree. I think at this point, we just start giving us the Generation X characters. I would love, and this is wish list territory that we'll discuss. I would love a wave dedicated to Generation X.
Oh yeah,
the build a figure, all that stuff. Like, I don't think the market could support that. To be honest with you, just putting my thinking hat on as a marketing person. But man, if we got like a box set with like Husk, with Mondo, with Chamber. I was gonna say Chamber with Husk, with Mondo, with Skin. Oh, I would just be so happy with the Generation X Emma, with a Generation X Banshee, an Emplate. I would be so happy. Pedants. Oh,
I would die. Obviously, I would absolutely love that. I feel like at this point, they could give us like literally that first Toy Biz Gen X wave.
Mm-hmm.
With Harvest as the Build-A-Figure, and who was in that wave? I think it was. I don't know.
Jubilee. It was
Jubilee, Penance, Harvest, Implet. Oh, Chamber we already have, so
Chamber. Yeah, and then Emma was in wave 2. Was Banshee?
And so was Banshee.
Yeah,
and Mondo was also wave 2. Just give us all of those characters. The only reason I think I would want it to be a wave rather than a box set is because I do want characters like Harvest, from the Phalanx Covenant, and I would personally prefer if they're going to do a Mondo, and that's a big if, because Mondo was kind of like the cock tease of Generation X. Like, he was teased for years and then wound up being like kind of a nothing burger. So if we didn't get him in Gen X, fine, but if we did, I would want him to be that big rocky version of the character rather than just a dude in like a wrestling onesie, you know what I mean? So I would want him to be a big Build-A-Figure-esque type character. So, and that's why I want waves. I would rather waves than a box set, personally.
So I agree with you. I really do. I would love a wave, a dedicated wave. I think how they did it for this last X-Men wave, where you sprinkle in some characters, that's fun, but like, I don't know, my heart's always going to flutter a little bit thinking of that wave of those Generation X waves and going to Toys R Us and seeing them, which I pulled it up here. So it was Penance, it was Jubilee, it was Harvest, it was Emplate, and Skin.
All of them. Give me all of those characters.
All of them, please. Please and thank you.
And then the second wave was Banshee, Emma, Marrow, Orphan Maker, and Mondo.
God, what a time!
So give us all of those. Give us all of those.
Time to be alive.
I'm just like, my heart is a flutter thinking of those figures right now. I just love them so much. This is the reaction that Gen X figures get out of a certain fanboys of a certain age. And Sync is just like the logical next step. And he, as we just listed above, he never got a figure in those waves, but we did eventually, much like a lot of the female characters we mentioned earlier, we did get a Kit Bash version from Toy Fair that put like an Xavier head on the Banshee Gen X body and gave us Sync, which he was a little old looking for a teenager, given that it was an Xavier head, but I loved that figure at the time. Now I'm just rambling about how much I love Sync, but yes,
we love Sync. Give us Sync, and Skin too. Okay, so the next figure, and I feel very strongly about this figure. I think now she is possibly going to be coming our way, is Madeline Pryor. Now, she was originally part of the Engine of Vengeance. She was one of the tiers, and because it didn't get funded, we're like, oh, we're never going to get, Maddie now. However, with the Giant Man HasLab, they have said that they're doing away with figures who are part of tiers because it locks them behind this price point when they want to give us these figures. So if we don't have to deal with those HasLab politics anymore, then 100% we're getting Madeline, because them even acknowledging, because who are they going to be talking about? Are they talking about Mephisto or like Damien?
I mean, yes.
I mean, fine, maybe, but I dare argue, and I've argued this before, we're eventually going to get Mephisto in Marvel Legends. That is a sure bet, especially if and when he comes to the MCU. But Madeline was the one that everyone was in a tizzy over. So I guarantee you they were referring to Madeline with that, and we are going to get a Marvel Legends Madeline. It may not be that one. I who knows what version she'll be in, but I hope we get Inferno style Madeline Pryor with
you're
obviously cape. I know, but they may give us flight suit Madeline Pryor.
I didn't freeze. I'm making a stink face at you. No, I think you're right. I think them, going to such lengths to call out why there are no 6-inch scale figures included with Giant Man goes a long way to show that they learned the lesson last time. And I do also agree. People don't want to, people want instant gratification. They don't want to look down the road, but I do agree with your point. We would have eventually gotten some version of Mephisto to the general public. I agree with that, but people were upset about Mephisto. But I think Maddie fans, or not even Maddie fans, but X-Men fans were really upset that they would have to pay $300 for something not X-Men related to get Madeline Pryor. Like, that was the bulk of the backlash. Is probably maybe my X-Men bubble online.
At the time, I was kind of okay with it, to be honest with you, and that's why I backed the Engine of Vengeance, because I wanted Maddie. But now I look at it and I'm like, well, that was an odd choice to put her there, especially since she has no ties to Ghost Rider other than
at all
demonic, evil, vague limbo hell strokes.
I defended it a lot at the time, and I backed the maximum number you could back once I saw it was shedding.
I love you. You didn't just back it. You were looking at like business plans to see how to get it manufactured.
I was literally trying to recruit people into my Ponzi scheme, wherein we would buy all of the Ghost Riders cars that got made, and then sell everything off, all the figures off individually, and make like 100 times our money back, because we would be the only people in the world that had Madeline Pryor Mephisto figures. Yes, that may be something that I looked into. Okay, thank you for calling me out in my insane neuroses. But I
love it. I mean, that was the only way to
show how bad I want a fucking Madeline Pryor as the Goblin Queen figure. Like, yes, I don't think she can be at retail for, reasons that we stated earlier. Perhaps we are old school in our thinking on that, but I don't see Madeline Pryor at retail. But there's no reason.
The retro cards weren't retail, and they were just like Fair Channel exclusive. So again, to my point that I thought the retro card art that David Nakayama did was Maddie. Just put Madeline there and sell her online. If there's a Dark Phoenix sold out so quickly, I guarantee you Madeline Pryor will sell. And by the way, I will even take it a step further. Do a Madeline Pryor 3-pack, reuse the X Factor Cyclops, Madeline Pryor, and an X Factor Jean. And then if you want to, if you have space for it, Baby Nathan, the little baby model they have. I guarantee you that shit will sell out within an hour. People will go crazy for that. And slap on some retro art on it. That's it.
The money. Print the money.
Yeah, take my money, Hasbro. Here you go. Here you go. Please and thank you. I'll buy 2.
Yeah, and I'm at a loss for words about how much I would want that, because I didn't love the retro card Cyclops. I don't know. I didn't think that the color scheme one was the retro card X Factor one.
God, it's been a minute since I have to look at the packaging and everything for him. Hang on.
I just didn't love
it. My God.
I didn't love him, and I can't remember what it was. Like, I don't know. I don't love that figure. I don't love the metallic blue paint job. I do know that other people were upset about the lack of like a powered down head for him. So I do think that this would be what you're suggesting would be the perfect way to get that out. And you can't go wrong with throwing red meat at jean stands, and her in that red and yellow X Factor costume. Money. People will give Hasbro all the money for that box set, especially if a baby Nathan is included.
Oh, I would love a baby Nathan. But I mean, with my luck, it's going to be the green and gold one, X Factor one. That's the one they're going to do.
But that doesn't make sense in the context of the pack. It won't happen. It can't happen.
Okay, fine, fair. Anyways,
but I do that. Does uncover.
I think Maddie is good.
I think so too. I think that they know that they are poking the bear by giving a tease in the way that they did, and then not giving us that figure. I would be angry.
Okay. All right. Well, that covers the X-Men portion of those reveals, and we're going to do something we don't typically do, which is talk about non-X-Men ones. And there's one on this list I really like. There's one that I don't care about, and there's one that I'm just like, what the fuck? But anyways, it is your time to shine on this one, because I do agree with 2 of these. I do agree with 2 of these.
No, so I think my number one non-X-Men like prediction is I think we have to have some sort of Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, Warbird, whatever the fuck you want to call her, figure, but not even a Warbird, like either her first Ms. Marvel appearance in the Captain Marvel, derived uniform, or an update to the Black Lightning Bolt bathing suit. I just think with the Marvels coming up, knowing that they like to do comic-based exclusive figures somewhere to support those films, I just think that we have to have some form of Ms. Marvel Carol coming. Whichever one it is, I don't know, but I think it has to be coming.
And I want her with longer hair. We got the Walmart Wave one back in like 2005.
Meg Ryan.
She will look like Meg Ryan, and she had the shorter hair. And then the one we got with Nuclear Man, which was a Target exclusive,
Yes.
looked, I don't know, like it didn't look too much like Carol, how I would want her straight out of the comics at that time. So I would just like it a little bit longer hair and like lots of fun accessories, you know?
Yeah, and I think that if you do bathing suit Carol as opposed to like first appearance Carol, which again, I would be fine with either one. First appearance Carol, I also believe was on that SDCC 2008.
She was.
She was.
She was.
Give us
She
the
absolutely was.
figures. Give us the
She was.
figures.
Give it
No,
to us.
So whether they make either version, I don't know. But if they do make the
Do you
lightning,
think Dwight has these photos up in his office or his work from home setup with all of these figures from 2008, these mocks, and he's here like going through the list, being like check mark, check mark?
listen,
We know
he
they
said,
like they did that with the figures, the chase, or not the chase ones. Why is the term the swaps from the Return to Marvel Legends? They went through all of it, and they've given us the majority of those figures already.
I mean, he even gave us an update. Dwight even gave us an updated Banshee when he said he wouldn't do that until he retired. So, like, he knows. I think they all know. At the end of the day, they're nerds and they want these toys too. I do agree. I think they're fans. I think they are going through the list and will eventually make those figures. But if they do the lightning bolt bathing suit, and they do want to pack it with accessories like they did with like multiple heads and accessories like they did the recent Target exclusive comic book Black Widow. I think one of the heads, it would be really fun if they took the recently released Outback Rogue head and put the little domino mask on her, because then we could add her to our Outback display.
Bravo. Yes, that infamous cover. Oh, that would be amazing.
I would love it. I would be a big fan of any version of Ms. Marvel. No one is surprised to hear that I'm standing for and either forecasting or wishfully thinking a Carol Danvers action figure into existence. Like, no big surprise there.
All right, what's your next one?
Okay, I know you hate me.
I know.
I'm sorry. I didn't even think about in full context suggesting a Beast figure.
I mean,
and then also suggesting a pack of like mini Wasp figures.
God, you might as well have just suggested Shadowcat with a K. Listen,
you don't think it's perfect timing? Like to have like, do you remember the little like Wasp figure that came in the Avengers box set back in the day, and they reused it with the Goliath, like maybe 2.5 inches tall, and they really had an Ant-Man as well. Don't you think that?
Of course I do, 100%. As like one of the like extra tiers, right?
It's not a 6-inch figure.
Oh God! By the way, did you read the X-Men Unlimited issue with Dazzler this week?
Yes, of course. Did I?
And then Jumbo was like, "Good Lord, this is more horrendous than Jenna Van Dyne's like summer wear."
Yes,
it's like, thank you. It is canon that Wasp is a terrible designer.
I mean, it is canon, but nonetheless, she has so many fun looks. They could do little 2-inch, like just like a bag of like 2 or 3 like Wasp costumes and an Ant-Man to go with this giant man. Like, it would be perfect. And I think that the last time I checked, they were about a third of the way through funding the giant man, maybe a little more than a third of the way through funding giant man. I think if they gave us Wasp and Ant-Man, not 6-inch, to where anyone would feel like they're missing, something, their only chance to get a figure. I'm talking just little teeny accessory versions to complement this project that may or may not get funded. I don't know. I typically
they're at 4,473 backers, and they need 10. And we have
a long time. So
they still have like 40 days. Hang on, I just closed out. They have 40 days, 5 hours, and 18 minutes. So I think it's going to get funded. Listen, I would be really disappointed if this doesn't get funded. Then I would just be like, wow,
what
people
are
being
do?
trolls. Yeah, what can they do? Because what I appreciate, we didn't talk about this. We talked about it on the pod, but like you and I didn't talk about it. Which is, I'm really glad they're doing this, and I'm glad that their tiers are more about enhancing the HasLab figure and not adding to. In this case, you're not just getting Ghost Rider and then you'll get Madeline and Mephisto. They're adding to the figure already, so it's perfect. I think this is a perfect approach. 100%. People should go back it. I'm not backing it because I can care less.
I did wind up,
but good. I'm glad you did. And
I did wind up.
So is Scott. Scott is doing it. And you are, and I think a couple other people were like, yeah, but The technology looks great. The figure looks amazing. Familia, go back it.
And my thoughts are, and what just drives me absolutely batty about the discourse about this figure is the same people who are decrying a lack of 6-inch figures are the same people who were freaking out about Madeline, Pryor, and Mephisto being included with the Ghost Rider HasLab. They literally listened to that feedback and are giving the people what they said they wanted, and now they're still complaining.
I cannot. It doesn't make any sense. I saw it too, where people are like, "Oh, so we're not getting figures." You were complaining about figures, and by the way, guess what? If you're gonna have figures, it's gonna add to the price. That's just how it is. And they listen, and that's why they're keeping the price point at $200. Which, in a world where 2 Marvel Legends are $50, it is what it is. 2 Legends are $50. You can get Giant Man for $200. That's perfect with all of these different accessories. I think it's perfect. Don't be a hater, darling.
Don't be a hater, darling. Don't do it. Auntie Emma says no.
It just doesn't make sense to me that people are now upset that they're not getting the 6-inch ones, 6-inch figures as part of these tiers when they literally listen, and now they're giving us an enhanced version of the HasLab. The technology for the eyes. These are the most realistic eyes we've ever seen.
They're scary as fuck. Let's be real.
You know what's scary? Misty Knight's eyes. The technology. Shit. So if this is like the fucking technology that's on the horizon for all Legends, so we never get cross-eyed Legends for characters.
I'm sorry, you really got sorry. I know.
Sorry.
If you're listening and not viewing, that Misty Knight comment just made me.
Because how badly did we want Misty Knight? How badly did we want Misty Knight? And then we finally got her, and her eyes were like all over the place, and it was so upsetting.
So upset. I laughed through the tears.
So if you're gonna give us this technology on the HasLab, and this technology will improve in years to come, that we can have it on the normal 6-inch figures, I'm happy to. You know what? Now I'm gonna fucking invest in the fucking
$200. It's fine. It's fine.
That's it. I'm gonna be fucking 4,474. That's who I'm gonna be.
You can put him. Christ. You can put him with Wanda. I don't know.
I don't know where.
What am I gonna do with Giant Man? I don't think I even have. I don't have Avengers at this point. I sold them all, but they are released newer, better versions all the time. I'm going to have an Avengers display now.
It's fine. But anyways, there we go. So Wasp, Mini Wasp. Yes, I agree. I hope they put that as part of the figure, as part of the HasLab experience. And I agree with you. It's nice enough where you're giving backers something without a character never being released again in that format.
Right. Okay. So the last thing that I think will be revealed, and just sort of based on the timing, it's almost spooky season. They're obviously going to reveal some MCU stuff, whether that's our bag or not. I think an MCU Werewolf by Night is some form or fashion is a shoo-in for PulseCon this year.
I have no feelings here or there for it. I have no feelings here or there. Okay, so I, in theory, watched Werewolf by Night, but I kind of drifted off as I was seeing it. So, I haven't rewatched it. You know me. I went on my fucking honeymoon with Elvira. I'm a spooky bitch. So, if there is an MCU figure I would buy, it would be Werewolf by Night. Did you ever get those Marvel Legends monsters? The box set, the monster box set? From the era of House of M and Young Avengers box set?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Have them?
I do not. I sold them actually a long time ago, and I hate myself because I wish I had at least kept Dracula. And it wasn't Werewolf by Night. It was The Werewolf, which Marvel has a lot of wolves. There's Werewolf by Night, The Werewolf, and Wolfman. And of the three, is it Wolfman? Man-Wolf. J. Jonah Jameson's son. That one. Yeah. And of the three, Werewolf by Night's the only one that has never had a figure, I say with no confidence. I don't think he's ever had a figure. So this would be the time is nigh. I think
the time is nigh for it.
It's spooky season. Werewolf by Night in general has never had a figure, and the MCU version, I think is popular. I have no conception of these things anymore.
In fairness, you are a big spooky person because I've been to your house during the Halloween season, and you go all out.
I mean, I'm a spooky bitch. I can't
You are
help
a
it.
spooky
I
bitch.
can't
You're a
help it.
shady, spooky bitch.
I mean,
Shady,
I wouldn't
spooky
start
bitch.
like a podcast about like bad horror films, but I would say after like X-Men, like horror, specifically like 1950s, 60s horror is like probably my number three fandom.
Really? Why didn't
Yeah.
I know that? I
I
I
don't
knew you I
understand.
knew you were a big horror person, but I didn't know you were like 50s Universal like monsters.
So like not
Uh,
specifically the Universal monsters, more those are more like 30s, 40s. I'm
oh,
more into
okay.
like the
Oh, okay.
Hammer
Watch out. Look at
film.
the scholar here.
I have listened to a lot of audiobooks I over the last couple of years. So yeah, I might be a little bit of an expert in the Hammer horror film series at this point.
I'm an expert. I've listened to lots of audiobooks on this. Trust
Yeah, I mean,
me. That's fair. No, I
I'm as
agree. That's fair.
qualified as anybody on the
Bitch,
internet.
I worked on audiobooks. I love audiobooks. The audiobooks are so educational. Everyone should go out and buy audiobooks because you can just pop them into your ears and like learn something while you're doing everyday stuff.
I mean, I can't listen to people like you and me talk back and forth about nonsense like like
Oh
this
my
for
God.
hours. I recognize that other people
I
can.
can. I can. I
But
love it.
I find an audiobook delightful. So, and I've spent, my God, at least 3 months probably total of the last year listening to audiobooks about horror. So yeah, I'm not an expert, but it is my secret fandom.
So that is our list of who we think. We have veered off so much on this episode, but I love it. That's why
I
we
mean,
got
we
our
also
vibe
haven't
going.
talked in a long time.
I know this. Well, because bitch, you have been busy. You have been
Bitch, I
busy.
had COVID. Like,
That's
let's
true.
be
You did.
real. I
Dude,
was
you got a COVID
down.
a year later again because you missed San Diego last year. Anyways, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I love it. Obviously, we'll see you again in a couple days
Yeah.
when they reveal everything at PulseCon, and we'll do a follow-up episode. And also, we're doing collabs with your work, Heritage Comics, so people can take a look at the Instagram page. Go check out Heritage Comics. I love this episode so much.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anytime, any excuse to talk about action figures because that's our roots, man. We met on an action figure message board. We bonded over these fucking toys. Like I'm down to chat Marvel Legends anytime,
Our
anytime.
script is literally like a half-filled like Google spreadsheet with just like Wolverine question mark. I didn't even spell kitty right. I'm like
No,
astonishing kitty with one T. Literally, and we just knew that was a prep going into this episode, Familia.
no prep. The prep was no prep. It's literally names in a like disorganized fashion in a Google sheet. That's behind the scenes at Power of X-Men.
All right, Familia, I'm the uncanny day spring,
And I'm the adjectiveless Flinkman.
and we'll see you soon.